Uh, we had Nipun say about RCS being natively available within Android, right? But we keep getting conflicting news from the market. We hear about uh, Google Messages being the default native app on handsets. And then you talk about the OnePluses and Oppos and Vivos having their own native app. So how has that play been for Google? How do you see RCS and RBM panning out? It'll be great if we can know some numbers. We understand that RBM was launched last year, then in India was the only market where I think you guys had to pause it and successfully you relaunched it. So what have been the learnings from this entire journey and what does the future hold for RCS and RBM?
Hello. Yeah. Mike's work. Some of the questions are out of syllabus, but yeah.
That was the point.
I will try and answer these. So in terms of what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
so in terms of the channels which we have for business communication, there are two of those. One is RBM and one is GBM. RBM is RCS Business Messaging, and then there is Google Business Messaging. I handle RBM for India, and I'm going to speak on that. From a perspective of RCS Business Messaging, what we've tried to do is to upgrade the native SMS experience by adding security, verification, allowing for richer content, allowing for conversations to happen, and more importantly, allowing for analytics, right? Because when brands are sending messages to users, they need to know how users are responding. And
Right.
I think the analytics part is really important, right? In terms of if I speak from a global perspective, we've seen a lot of traction over the past year, where we've seen major telcos such as Deutsche Telekom and the Vodafone Group also recently moving to the Google platform. It is helpful if there is homogeneity in the platform itself,
Right.
globally, so that you can offer a consistent user experience. We've seen good adoption and encouraging adoption in European and Latin markets. The focus of brands in some of those markets has just been to upgrade native experiences, the basic SMS, by adding a layer of verification, right, which gives trust to people, right? And the fact that it adds branding, right? So you're able to add branding as a brand. People will see your brand on the SMS delivered, and they see a verified tick, which gives them confidence that this is from a trusted brand.
Right.
So that is important. We've seen a lot of preference for that and a lot of value attributable to that. From a perspective of, you were speaking about messaging, right?
Right. The native app?
The handset ecosystem.
Yes, exactly.
From a handset ecosystem, we've been working, there are different models which we follow with operators across the world. For India, I think we've been working with all OEMs, and with the majority of them, you will see the Google Messaging app as the default app.
Right.
And as we had, I mean, the only number I can tell you about is globally, last year we had announced we had crossed 500 million, right?
Okay.
And
500 million
globally installed Android messages.
Android, all right.
And I think we will announce the next landmark very soon.
All right.
Sometime this year. That's all the number I can share with you, right? From a perspective of our experience last year, we had been running this service on a beta mode, and we came across scenarios where user preferences were not being respected. People were being aggressively messaged, right? And we took some of the learnings from that, and I'll not speak much about that. I would rather speak about things which we've done
Right.
over the last 1 year. I think we focused on 3 things. The first area we focus is on user control, as in the user should be in charge of whether they want to receive messages from a brand or not. So we made it easier for users to block and report brands if they don't like that brand.
Right.
And we've built in spam controls, right? And I mean, if there is a pattern to a higher spam rate from a certain brand, we could allow for certain actions. The second one is about business rules. When we had we realized that we had to build much more clarity on the business rules around what people can do and what people cannot. And so in our new AUP and TOS, we made that very, very clear so that there's no subjectivity to that, right? So we put in business rules and we've implemented them at a platform level. And the third one, more importantly, and I think which is most important, is that the service was on a beta mode, and we've brought in a commercial framework so that it can be charged for, so that once service is chargeable, right, there is more responsibility in terms of what users send.
All right. So maybe I'll just shift gears for a second to Surinder. You know, you've been part of this RCS, RBM journey globally. You know, .go has been one of the successful, what should I say, map providers. Would that be a correct?
Yeah.
All right. So going by what Abhinav has mentioned, you know, about how there was a phase 1 and phase 2, how has your experience from a platform provider been in India market and globally? And what do you see coming out within the RBMCs? Let's put it this way, what is it that you feel is needed to make RBM a success in India?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, RCS is kind of a unique channel. You know, it is a rich channel, just like other OTT. But the difference being that it's sort of not owned by one player like Meta or one,
Right.
but it's really, you know, kind of
Like an all-inclusive.
Google, but
Right.
it's an operator channel. So it
Right.
requires Google, it requires operator.
Right.
And then when we kind of entered this space, we saw a need for a platform provider that kind of brought this together.
Right.
To basically help operators monetize RBM, you know, provide whatever is the missing pieces so that, you know, whether it comes to billing, onboarding processes, verification, you know, all of those processes, consent management, et cetera. And, you know, of course, Google has also invested a lot within the last year, particularly to kind of respond to what happened in India and bring
Right.
in that commercial model. Our journey with RCS actually started, you know, a couple of years back. We were the first ones to launch RBM in a country in Nigeria, you know, more than 2 years back. And then kind of we built upon that to kind of further develop the system. And we've now kind of powering the platform that is helping us kind of relaunch.
Right.
And I think the thing that we've seen is that it's not just a matter of having the raw channel and the APIs. You need a lot of these tools and services. And being a new channel, you know, in any provider, in any aggregator, any CPaaS player, you know, will take time to build all of those capabilities.
Right.
There's a need to, you know, for multiple players to build those tools and kind of share it. And we focus basically, as I said, we're part of Gupshup, which is looking at an omni-channel strategy. But as .go, our focus is purely on RCS and making sure that we support all players in the ecosystem,
Right.
you know, to make kind of RCS successful.
Perfect. And Dwarka, you know, zeroing in onto you. So we also have Airtel and Jio in the audience today. But we've seen Vodafone is the first one in the market. You have the first mover advantage. You've partnered with the entire RCS RBM ecosystem and launched it in India. So what made Vodafone take the plunge first? Why have you bitten the bullet of RCS and RBM? And what has your experience been like? It's actually a cannonball. We are still calling it a bullet.
Good question, Anurag. See, we always believed that telcos have got a lot of role to play in conversational space.
Right.
Now, there is ample research that states that 80% of the consumers would like to interact with their brands using conversational media.
Absolutely.
Now, messaging is a very good effective channel, right? Nothing beats SMS as a channel in terms of pure effectiveness. But we saw potential that there was an opportunity for brands to interact with their customers in terms of conversations, leading it to an e-commerce, leading it to a revenue generation opportunity.
Right.
And there's always a trend which you just highlighted that you start with website,
Right.
then it went to apps, then they started light apps,
Right.
and now they are saying
Conversation.
conversation.
No,
So
absolutely.
wherever it makes sense that we see there is a consumer benefit, we will go for it.
Right.
And RBM was an easy fit. We were working with all the ecosystem providers and partners. We see a good opportunity for it. I don't see this cannibalizing the existing SMS because the use cases are
Right,
totally different from what use cases are being run on the SMS channel.
right.
So there is a opportunity, and we have one player who has demonstrated in this market
Uh-huh.
and very successfully also,
Absolutely.
bit if I have to admit. And the awareness and adoption of that particular channel is so strong that we had to be there.
Right.
So we can't let it be an uncontested space. And as telcos, we can offer certain personalization insights. So we work with the CPaaS providers
Right.
and try to personalize the RCS communication. And
Right.
now all of us have got analytics team, and AI ML is the most used, abused, or whatever application you want to say.
Right.
So we will personalize, and we will do the use cases, and we see that it's a good business opportunity.
And I guess till the other operators don't come in, it is your uncontested space. So
But it's just a matter.
enjoy the run. Yes, I guess it's a matter of time, which means, Abhinav, do we see the possibilities of other Indian opcos also coming into the play soon? Or is that something you cannot comment much upon?
I can't comment, but I'm very hopeful. Yeah.
You're hopeful. All right. Just to the audience, we have 20 minutes left in the panel. We'd like to keep the last 5 minutes if anybody has any pressing questions which you guys would like to bring on to the panel. But moving on, you were talking about use cases. So, Avnish, shifting gears a bit, we are talking conversational commerce. It's not just RCS, RBM. In general, you're running GTS Technology Labs, Tech Labs, which is all about offering a whole host of platforms, whether it's blockchain, it's CPaaS, it's firewall, the entire gamut of services and platforms which the ecosystem is looking for.